What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, man. Another Jasmine Crockett. She's not playing. She's going crazy. She's relentless, as she always is. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload. I do be taking my breaks. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but I'm trying to get back consistent because there's a lot going on in the world, especially in the U.S. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
The fourth thing that I want to say is I'm tired of y'all cherry picking one horrible event, because that's what y'all do. Y'all find one terrible situation that took place and then you say that person's name and you wear it out and you make it political. The reality is this: I got a few names for you if you want to start going through names, and you tell me which one of these names you've decided to do any type of legislation behind. We've got Virginia Guffrey, we've got Annie Farmer, we've got Maria Farmer, we've got Courtney Wild, Michelle Licata, Jenna Lisa Jones, Jennifer Araz, Sarah Ransom, Shantae Davies, Carolyn Adriano. And the reality is that it's our understanding that there may be close to 1,000 victims of Epstein, Maxwell, and others. So stop playing these games and acting like you care about one particular situation. You take a situation and then you exploit what has happened to not only that person, but you exploit those families and you make it a game. Stop just throwing a random dead person's name on something for your own political expediency. If you want to start talking about actually solving something, then maybe we should go to the other campaign promises, the ones that allegedly gave y'all a mandate. When he said he was going to lower prices on day one, yet that didn't happen. When he said that he was going to be ending wars on day one, yet that didn't happen. Where he said that he was going to save the American people, yet that didn't happen. Because as we know, in that big ugly bill that every single one of you voted for, except for Mr. Massey, because he seemingly is the only one that's got any sense over there, y'all voted for that bill. And the last time I checked, it's driving us further into debt while kicking people off of their health care, in addition to making sure that billionaires, which I would not be surprised if we start to roll out those names, and a number of those same billionaires, because these weren't $2, well, they weren't $2 Johns. That's not what I got from the information. So stop telling us that you care. Show us that you care. Show those survivors that you care. Sign the daggone discharge petition, sit down and hear their stories, and then tell them to their faces that because your leader does not want to talk about this, that is who you have pledged your loyalty to and your fealty to, and you're not going to protect them, and you're not going to protect others that are suffering right now and others that will suffer in the future, and I will yield.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to be clear about what we just heard a few minutes ago from Ms. Crockett from Texas, that we are doing a bill on some, quote, random dead person. This person was a vibrant soul, had a life, was pursuing a degree. She's not some random dead person, but she's a symptom of a larger problem, which you guys have ignored for years, which is that we're going to import and fling open the gates of our southern border and allow these individuals to come into this country, that we're not going to vet them, that we're not going to ascertain about where they land, and that we're not even going to follow up. The gentlelady from Wyoming introduced into the record a Homeland Security report. There's a Health and Human Services report about all of the systemic failures of the last administration. And the flippant and, quite frankly, callous response by the gentlelady from Texas is that she's just some random dead girl. Now, she just walked out of the room, so I guess she didn't want to hear this. But her mother, if you want to talk to her mother, which I encourage you to do so that you understand who she was, here's a quote from her mother that she was texting with me. Kayla talked a mile a minute like a hummingbird. She loved animals, especially her cat Oreo. She cared about the homeless. She loved her mommy. She treasured her family and friends. She loved God and loved going to church. She loved her birthday and Christmas. She loved the beach and the pool and swimming. Her voice and laugh carried across the room, even when the room was quiet. She loved music and loved to have fun. She lived every day to the fullest, and boy, did that girl love to sleep. And I can go on and on. This was a young lady who was pursuing a degree as a veterinarian. She wanted to help people. She wanted to live her life. She wasn't some random dead person that we just plucked out of a hat. She is a symptom of a larger problem that you have ignored. We had a field hearing, my first term in Congress. Not a single damn Democrat showed up to look at the open border lawlessness caused by this administration. So while you sit here quietly for the last 4 years when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris allowed and tacitly sanctioned the trafficking of hundreds of thousands of children across the border, I think it's pretty dang shameful. You said nothing while young girls and boys were raped and otherwise abused by their smugglers and traffickers. You didn't even raise a finger to help when the New York Times, of all places, not really a bastion of conservatism, exposed the labor trafficking of unaccompanied minor children. There were no consequences to the actions of the last administration, and you just buried your heads in the sand. So Kayla Hamilton wasn't a random dead person. She was one of many people who have been victimized by the lawless border problems created by the last administration, and you refuse to acknowledge it, and that's shameful. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentlelady from Texas, I believe, seeks recognition. Gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have an amendment at the desk.
Reserve the point of order.
Amendment to the amendment and
Gentleman from
the
Wisconsin reserves a point of order.
nature of a
Amendment
substitute.
will be considered as read. The gentlelady is recognized to explain her amendment.
My amendment today would strike the provision of this bill that will require the Secretary of Health and Human Services, who we know is incompetent, to conduct body examinations of unaccompanied children aged 12 and over to see if they have gang markings. I don't know what your obsession is subjecting kids to government mandated strip searches, but it needs to stop. Now, I want y'all to take a second and really think what you're trying to force little kids to go through. This has to be the third time y'all have tried to push a bill that would give the federal government legal authority to put kids in compromising, traumatizing situations. Whether it's immigrant kids or trans kids, every chance you get, it seems like you want to force the government to look at little kids' bodies. Now, let me put this differently. You want to give some stranger, a federal government employee no less, for all of you small government folks over there on the other side of the aisle, free reign to examine little 6th or 7th graders for some obscure thing that isn't even conclusive evidence that they're in a gang. I mean, this is kind of insane. This provision is just another example of the hypocrisy coming from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Y'all love to talk a big game when it comes to protecting kids from harm and trauma, but the fact is, it's all an act. Because if Republicans really cared, y'all wouldn't be refusing to release the Epstein files and bring justice to the victims of human trafficking and assault. And I do want to make sure that I put a little asterisk here. Everyone is talking about how great Comer is doing and this and that. To be clear, it was an oversight subcommittee, and it was the Democrat who is the ranking member who actually brought the motion to release the files. It just so happened that there were enough Republicans on that subcommittee, seemingly more than on this full committee, that had the courage enough to actually vote with the Democrats. But let me be clear, this was Democrats leading. This was the tail wagging the dog, so I don't want y'all to forget that part. Don't go around claiming that y'all are the heroes because now there's supposedly files that are coming out. It was the Democrats that led that, just to be clear. Now, you sure as hell wouldn't be forcing kids who are in middle school into situations where the federal government is placing them in a room with a random adult, strip searching them to try to find some obscure amorphous thing. Now, I know some of my Republican colleagues here have kids, and I'm willing to bet that if your kid was going to say England, and you found out some random government employee over there was going to strip search your kid to look for some tattoos or markings, you would lose your damn mind. You do everything you could to prevent this from happening and save them from that trauma. And that's all I'm asking you to do today, is to protect these kids. Spare these kids from the unnecessary trauma. Be the adults in the room today, because enough is enough. Nothing in my amendment prevents DHS or even HHS from requesting a kid's criminal record or prevents HHS from evaluating whether kids are a danger to themselves or others. What this amendment does do, however, is prevent kids from having to go through unnecessary strip searches and be traumatized for the rest of their lives. If you're really on the side of history, if you really want to be on the right side of history, then that means that you'll do all that you can to protect kids, and I urge you to support my amendment. The final thing that I will say is I stand by everything that I said before. y'all love to cherry pick because you claim that the immigrants are the reason for crime, but you have nothing to say about white supremacists in this country. I don't remember, as we are headed to yet a record number of school shootings in this country as it relates to children, I don't remember y'all bringing bills in the names of any of these itty bitty children. In fact, the most recent shooting, as y'all love to send thoughts and prayers, these babies were legitimately praying when they were killed. So I don't remember y'all trying to do gun reform for all of that. I don't remember y'all being super outraged when it came to January 6th and those defendants. Well over 1,000 defendants. And we're talking about they beat up on law enforcement. Now y'all love law enforcement. You love some ICE. Now that ICE is going around thugging everywhere. But nevertheless, I don't remember y'all even having the courage to say, yes, put the damn plaque up. That was signed into law. Y'all won't even do that. So don't tell me that y'all are here being the champions for everybody. You are very selective. So yes, it is a game. Because if I want to do legislation, I don't have to put somebody's name on it to do right. I don't have to put one of the children's names so that I can have real gun reform and save lives.